Recorded January 3rd, 2024. Good afternoon, Andrea. Brody.
Good afternoon, Brody. You're on mute, my friend.
Good. I didn't interrupt Edward at the intro. Hi everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Man, is the year over yet? Golly. Oh, it's good to see everyone. It's
Good to
been
see
a
you too,
minute.
buddy.
It's been a minute, Brody. You've been out. I know you had personal and do you guys say vacation in Canada holiday?
Hmm.
Because in
Well,
Britain,
it's the holidays, and I did take some vacation for a ski trip that I went, a heli skiing trip, the CMH heli skiing. And
sure.
then over the holidays, I actually don't take vacation because nobody's working anyway. So why
I
bother?
was I
Yeah.
was looking more for the terminology, not necessarily the activity. Because
Yeah.
if you got
Yes.
someone that on the other side of the pond, yeah, I'm taking a holiday for the holiday. Yeah, I get it. Andrew, I sort of know what you were doing. You and I talked a lot, but anything that you and I didn't talk about on holidays, I think we talked at least 3, 4 times on the holidays, right?
Yeah, nothing exciting. Quiet Christmas. We went to see Aquaman. FYI, you can skip it. What else? No, hanging out with the family. Visited lots of friends who have little kids, which again always makes me confirms my decision not to have any little kids. So, but that was great. And Happy New Year, Paul. Thanks for joining us. What about
Hey,
you?
um, a short recant, sort of like travel, but I'll start back a little bit past the holidays. I think everybody knew I was in Morocco, and soon thereafter that, some travel, and then back. Uh, True vacation. We went to Aruba where it was warm. Ran every day. It was like 80 degrees. Beautiful. Wind was blowing every day. It is not a cheap locale. There is nothing cheap about it. The prices are the prices, right? And it had to be elevated because of the holidays. But it was worth the sunlight. Um, I won't. Went to a couple of places. I'm not a big steak person, but we went to it had to be the best steak slash lobster slash science, fixins. Till I'm from the South, fixins I've had all year. It was just phenomenal. I don't know what they cooking it in guilt, shame, fatness, gluttony, whatever. It was marinated in. That steak was so good. And but no, we did that and uh, New Year's Day didn't do anything with a friend. Um, our wedding anniversary is right around that time too. So that was it.
Cool, man.
I I can honestly say very little work. Some reading, some cert renewals, just because there was nothing to do during that time. A few other things, man. But the problem is, I don't know if you guys have this problem. I think Andrew, you and I talked about it. It takes you so long to disconnect. About the time you're disconnected, it's time to go back.
It's funny. I heard you talking about that on the Christmas show, and maybe it's my generation, but for me, it's like a switch. I'm out, and then I'm back, and that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So happy New Year to Noodle, and happy New Year, you know, to our listeners that are joining us slowly but surely. If anybody can tell, I'm moving in slow motion. It's not that I'm, like fatigued. I'm just tired. I don't know what it is. I think it's maybe I'm overwhelmed because I open up my mailbox and mail starts spilling out the laptop onto the table, and I'm like, I'm trying to stop it, right? But it was some good news inside the email that came in, so that's pretty good. I don't Christmas show. I think I already said that piece of it. So no, good.
Good, man.
Um,
Good.
this is our first show of the year. Thanks
Yeah.
everyone. Yeah, look at that. Who would have
Should
thunk it?
we set some tech New Year's resolutions, or should we talk about what things we think are going to be hot in tech this next year?
I think you
Ooh.
should.
Well, can we before we get going? I want to bring on a special guest.
Do we have a special guest?
Yeah, can I bring on a special guest?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Sure.
hold on 1 second. I'm going to do this. Just wait 1 second.
All right.
Hold on. Oh, hello, Lego Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobots. Thank you
Optimus
for
Prime is
the
on
show.
mute. We can't hear him.
Oh, yeah, he speaks in Cybertronian, and your human ears wouldn't be able to convert it. So he's just going to, remain mute today. But hopefully in the future, we'll be able to get Optimus Prime to engage with the audience and with our guests. But I just wanted to
For
show.
anyone who is only listening and not watching, why don't you tell us what you have there, Brody?
Absolutely. Well, my amazing wife, she said, instead of asking for what you want for Christmas, how about we just get you something, right? And I've told her in the past that I went into the Lego store and I saw the greatest piece of Lego I've ever seen in my life, because not only is it Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobots, the Transformer, the hero of my childhood, but it's also Lego, one of my favorite toys as a kid. So it's combining the two greatest toys ever made, Lego and Transformers, because he actually transforms. He doesn't do it automatically. You have to do it manually. There is an automatic transforming Optimus Prime out there for like 1,000 US. I will have that one day. But yeah, it's the greatest. It's the greatest toy, and it took me about a week to build it. Like a few hours a day, and like it was so much fun. I got to build Optimus Prime, and it was super fun. He comes with a lot of accessories. Like in his chest, we have the Autobot Matrix of Leadership,
Look at that to
right?
detail.
The Autobot Matrix of Leadership, pretty amazing, and that goes back in there, right? So we put that back in there, and then he also comes with his own Energon cube, right?
Mm.
Right? 1,000 barrels of oil go into an Energon cube. And
Trivia.
somewhere around here, where is it? Somewhere around here, oh, I lost it, is his axe. Oh, here we go. His Energon axe, which he used to fight Megatron in the movie. Very cool. Very cool. And on his back, he has a backpack, a
How long did
jetpack.
it take you to build this?
So probably over a week. It was like 2-ish plus hours a day, and it was great. And I watched the Christmas show recording while I was doing it, and I just, it's like the greatest toy I've ever owned, probably. And so I just really wanted to bring him on the show, and he's going to stay on the show today, if that's all right with both of you, and hang
Sure.
out with us, because I'm just so blown away by that. So that was like one of the major highlights of my Christmas. So thanks for letting me share that with everybody. And if you're thinking about getting Lego Optimus Prime, I would highly recommend it. It was super fun. I think it's the only Transformer that's out. Hopefully they make more. So
You mean for Lego period?
yeah, for Lego period. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's the only one.
it might be one more there. Some people will confuse the Legos with the actual, the actual toys that were made out the cartoon, which are the originals, which are super expensive.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking for a couple of them, but Transformers was part of my, actually late teenager, high school, and then everybody in college watched it. You could go to the student union. Everybody was sitting inside the student union watching Transformers and
Yeah.
GI Joe. Go
G.I.
Joe!
Joe. Yeah, and G.I. Joe. Well, when you were talking with Santa, in air quotes, on the Christmas show, said that you were looking for some Transformers for him on eBay or whatever. And yeah, I've got a whole bunch of like probably Gen 2 Transformers in a bin somewhere. I got to slowly take down this office because we're going to renovate it. But Edward, it was like my primary toy. It was like my primary toys growing up were like Transformers and Legos. So I hear you, and I know that some of your test workstations are named after very important transformers.
Yep. Every computer in my lab,
Yeah.
Andrew has access to my lab. Everyone is named after a Transformer character, unless it's like strictly can't be, but yeah, they all name after that. But no, Andrew was making a suggestion. Cool on the toy. Um, I hate that I had some of those legacy toys that got thrown away. But we're gonna make some New Year's resolution, predictions or tech somethings or something. And Andrew, you
I think it'd
volunteered.
be fun for us to talk about what maybe if we have a resolution to learn something new or do something with tech, and then there's a million articles out there right now that what are the big 5 trends or the 10 trends or the 7 trends for the year, which obviously number one pretty much being AI, but
What's that?
I just think it'd be fun just to see what we all think is going to happen.
I think I'll go first. I think that
Weird.
friends, whatever. I think that if I go first, I mean I steal your idea, so you can't use it.
If you go first, we might not have to talk the rest of the episode. So it's like,
I know, right?
yeah, right.
No, doesn't bother me at all. Brody is still sour. He's never beat me in a certification contest. So, and Frank put me up to it again this year. Challenge Brody to some certification. I said, man, why? Keep kicking a man when he's down is no fun. But AI, I don't know what in AI. It is so arbitrary. You just say AI, and then you go. I asked the question, "What in AI?" Ask someone that. What do you mean? What in AI are you doing? Well, it's AI. What? You know. So I got to figure out what that fundamental learning is. Past the Microsoft Learn. You see, you speak of AI, here it comes.
I heard my name. What's going on?
Rod was jealous that Optimus Prime was stealing his spot, so he had to come in.
I'm only here for a second. I just want to say Happy New Year to everyone. This is my last day off, and I'm trying to just literally eke every amount of value out of it that I can. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, good to see you. Happy New Year, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not
Happy New Year,
doing much.
buddy.
Talking about New Year's resolution. I'm just like,
Oh, I don't do those.
I
know, they
don't
suck.
do them either. New Year's observations.
But for
and-
work, we'll do it absolutely because I think it's an excellent piece of content for our episode.
I think that I'm more of a person of New Year revolutions, right? So get a fundamental learn about AI and how it's practical. Like right now, the only practical applications that I'm seeing because I work at the Windows Kool-Aid production places around Chat GPT, and I know there's Azure OpenAI and a few other things, and it's built into the products, But I think I need a grounding thing of what it is, and I need to learn it outside of Microsoft to see what the little small startups are doing.
Oh my God.
2, just security. It's just evolving, right? Seeing some other stuff. I don't know. I got that 508 cert from SANS that I got to put my head down and get dead ass serious about it, so I can pass that. I'm not doing too much of anything this year, right? Maybe learn Linux a little better, some Python. I don't know.
I'm not doing too much of anything this year.
Not too much of anything. I'm a salesperson. I gotta sell more.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently. Oh my God. Hope your boss isn't watching.
If he is, he gets it. He said, "Oh my God." So, what about you, Andrea? I know you got a litany of things, right?
Well, I thought somebody said this, and I thought this was probably true. We always think about resolutions as being, I'm going to stop doing, I'm going to stop eating carbs. I'm going to start exercising every day. But, that we could have fun resolutions. Like my friend and her daughter were like, every time we see a fruit that we've never eaten before, we're going to try the fruit. Which you can do some fun stuff, right? Or I'm going to go back and watch every movie that has Channing Tatum in it or something, right? Something just fun to do something like that. But I think, certainly my work resolution is to get up to speed in my new job and do all of the required training for learning about the large language models and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think for our listeners who weren't able to, I think we only announced it on the Christmas show. Andrea has a new gig.
Yeah.
She's our inside person on Security Copilot. Now we got a person on the inside. Get it?
That's-
Um.
Sounds like
uh,
Andrea could take advantage of the must learn AI security content that one
really?
Rod Trent has put out.
You mean that thing?
Oh, is that a book or a
Look at
DVD?
that.
What is that? A book?
An actual
Oh,
physical.
Hey, what do I have? What do I have? Oh, that is that the hardcover?
Yes.
That is the hardcover, yeah.
Oh, wow, that's
It's all silky. You know.
nice.
I notice it's not signed.
Well, you have to take that and get an autograph.
Yeah, no doubt.
I
Let's
don't wanna-
see. Where might we be able to do that? I don't know. Yeah.
Do you have it on ebook?
I have it on.
Like on
Oh,
Kindle?
you asking me him?
Yeah, I'm asking
Uh,
Rod. the author.
Yeah. So here's the deal with that. I do make it available on Amazon in electronic and then physical formats, just to expand the audience beyond what we can reach through GitHub and stuff like that. But there is a free PDF version that you can send to your Kindle reader, right? You know how to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
The difference there, though, is that if you buy it on Amazon, all that money goes directly to St. Jude.
Mhm.
Whereas, the other one's great. You can have it, anybody can have it for free. The content's always free. It's just there are, methods and madness to everything that I do. And ultimately, I'd like to see folks be able to participate and give to a worthy cause.
Let me read
Absolutely.
it real
That
quick.
is an important cause. I really
Rod, you
appreciate
want to
that.
pop the link in there for us? You want to pop the link in there?
Pop the link to the book well, it's just, let's
That's Amazon, just so that people can easily click if they want to.
Um,
and
someone,
by the way, we will be
Thank you,
focusing on
Nathan.
quantum security come.
now that is something I'm interested in. Quantum computing, quantum technology. Because I'm a physics guy. I like science like that, right? So I'm trying to see, because if we don't do this, you can't do interplanetary travel. You can't compute fast enough. So the scientific applications of it, right?
Well,
And before
quantum-
that, quantum resistant cryptography standards are going to be extremely important. Right, Rod?
cryptography, but there's also the issue that kind of trying to noodle right now is that things happen so quickly that you can't capture the stuff in the logs in time. So what kind of security tool are you going to? So again, it boils down to applying a framework of security in the first place. So I don't know. We'll see.
Well, every organization is going to have to move to quantum resilient standards as soon as possible. Like critical infrastructure companies, Microsoft's working on the board to develop those processes right now. All communication channels on Earth could be opened up unless
I think
we move towards this.
organizations, just kind of standard organizations, are going to have to think about how to protect themselves against the security against quantum computing,
Right.
at least initially, because if miscreants get access to those types of resources, because quantum computing, so there's a couple companies, I think Edward and I both invest in one of them, that are developing mainstream quantum computers, something that you could actually just shove into a rack into your data center. They're going to be hugely expensive. So they're going to be out of range and out of reach for a lot of folks. So quantum computing is going to be a cloud-based service, at least initially, so kind of have those pool of resources and things like that. So I think for at least for a little bit, it's going to be out of the reach of a lot of these threat actors potentially, but let's just see. Because again, it boils down to a good security framework, something that you can lay over top of everything that you do. That's what we do with AI. But quantum computing is going to accelerate AI usage. So again, we're talking about some pieces here that we need to kind of think about and figure out how to get that framework of security across the organization. Best practices. I hate using best practices, but that's what it is, right? The things that we talk about every day.
Let me play the cynic on this, and then I know Brody wants to talk about his New Year's resolutions or predictions. I had an interesting conversation with someone I met over the holidays at a party. They happened to be a data scientist, computer engineer, whatever. And as we were talking, I came up with a concept, and I was like, man, we've been talking about all of this. Maybe, it needs to be registered as though it's a weapon. Even though we can't get our traditional, munitions, guns, shit, excuse my language, stuff squared away in the U.S. But when you look at these supercomputers, they have to be registered as such. And you're right, only certain organizations are going to be able to run these things. But the actors who can afford it, think about who they're going to be. They're going to be nation state actors funded by governments who can be able to do this. So I'm thinking quantum computers are going to have some type of signature and footprints that can identify them. And then we need to get back to some corporate patriotism. The leaders of these corporations cannot just sell this type of stuff to anyone. You might as well sell very polarizing and very much my opinion. It's similar to just selling an AR or AK-47 to anybody who'll come in the store. Right. And so when you allow anybody to just come in and hypothetically buy a massive quantum capable, device for personal use, because the company's realizing I'm selling one of these and I'm making 20 million a pop. Right. So you got to look at that. Are we going to be able to put tariffs and constraints like we do on microchips and stuff and say you cannot sell this tech? But then the purists would say, well, you're stifling innovation because now you're not allowing other people to improve it.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of sometimes you got to lose a lot of toes before you realize, oh, that's the wrong way to go. Right. So we will see. And that is just my philosophical way about it has to be treated. A baseball bat is not a weapon, but is a baseball bat a weapon?
I'm saying, can I just lose one toe? Do I have to lose a couple of toes first?
Yeah, just not the big toe. Big toe.
Maybe one.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure. I'll give you
mine grow back, so I'm okay.
Get the big one and the little one, so they're always bouncing, right? and it has to be. You know what? We were going to do a show on that, so let's save it. We're going to talk about responsible AI. Now we have to include responsible computing, right? And I think that the discussion came up because we were watching what's that thing that Tom Cruise is in, the movie. I'm having an old man. Mission Impossible.
Oh, that was a good movie. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the one that had the AI in it.
Oh, Minority Report.
Yeah, one of my favorites of all time.
Yes.
I love that movie. That's a great movie.
That's what got me hired as a GBB. Ren and I went totally off topic and started talking about Minority Report, talking about how we can make something like that. It's because I didn't know what the hell I was talking about, so I took the conversation to somebody likes. So he didn't interview me anymore. There you are. There you go. But yeah, so but hey, talking about responsibility, we want to let Brody have as little time as he can because he'll talk the air out of the room what all the is.
God. Are you
Santa
kidding me,
Claus.
dude? I had to skip past basically the entire back half of the Christmas episode because it was just Edward on a tangent. But I'm the one who talks too much. Yeah, yeah. You're probably having a couple too many McClellans over the holidays.
McAllen's 15 because I have
right.
friends that love me. Macallan 15-year Highland single malt Scotch whiskey, sherry seasoned oak cast, natural couleur, spelled the Canadian way with the U.
Wow, that's amazing.
I'm glad it made there in one piece. I was worried about it.
Thank you, Andrea, my buddy, my bestie. She doesn't love you guys. How about that?
I think she's just trying to keep you medicated. Yeah.
that's the thing. Brody, we appreciate your perspective being a young person. Your naivety. We appreciate that. So let's hear what you believe is going on. Since
okay,
you're
so
playing with toys.
These are listen, Optimus Prime saved all of our lives in 1984, and you should be thankful. So that's all I'm saying. Now, it's resolutions, right, Andrea? And resolutions are what we think is going to be top of mind in 2024.
Yeah.
Okay,
Perfect.
excellent. Resolution 1 for me, I am going to go through the must learn AI security from Rod Trent. That is at the top of my list, 100%. 2, there is a plethora of internal resources finally, and I won't get into that, for Security Copilot, a ton of content. And so I'm going to dive more into that, and I have been diving into that in my downtime as customers have been quiet after the holidays. So that's obviously going to be hugely important. And that's going to lead into some of the work in the security community internally at Microsoft that I co-lead. We want to make sure that as much information is available to as many people across the organization so they can have these important conversations and learn together, because there's a lot going on in an ever-changing environment there. So that's pretty cool. What else? I want to read and educate more on vendor neutral security operations practices. And there was a book I'm almost done called Agile Security Operations, I think it's called. I don't have it here, it's on my Kindle. And just really interesting to hear about, we in consulting and Microsoft Consulting deal a lot with solutions and technology, but the really good consultants are also thinking about people and process. And it's important to understand how organizations are actually utilizing our capabilities like Sentinel and Defender XDR and whatever in their existing process. And is that the right way of going about it? Is the right way of securing your organization a broad stroke on everything, or should you be more targeted against threat actors that target organizations in your industry? And the answer is number 2, by the way. So things like that I want to be exploring more, right? Kind of get out of just the Microsoft bubble and listen to some neutral perspectives on how we should be handling security. So that's another resolution. What else? Do you want to comment, Edward?
I believe you're right. I mean, what you just said is sort of in line to what I'm studying for the SANS 508. And we're talking about nation states and how these actors are not just arbitrary. Some of them are very good at going after financial institutions because they realize they have a lot of commonality. They do the same things right in the states, right? So that's interesting that you said that. So very, very much, yeah.
Yeah, it's impossible. It's like, I think the best way it was phrased in what I was reading was, it's boiling the ocean to try to secure absolutely everything from every vector at all times. You need to be more targeted, right? And so if you understand the actors in your space and what TTPs they use to breach organizations in your industry, you can start having more targeted controls and efforts towards dealing with the next event, right? As opposed to just blanket security that might not be targeted or effective, right? Identity being a primary cornerstone, social engineering of help desk being another item that can get around even the best security controls, and I've seen it with customers as well. So it's really interesting to really dig into that with organizations. So I want to really listen and dig into those scenarios and ensure that when the next event happens, we're all on the same page in terms of how we're learning through events and through publicly available information and from the experiences of others in the industry.
You and I must have been at the same cocktail party because you just made another comment as I moved through the crowd and talked to someone else. We were talking about social engineering. And the guy made a statement and I had never thought about it. He says social engineering of help desk more prominent for offshore help desk than it is by onshore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've not dealt with help desk. It just is what it is to me, the way it operates. But they were like, well, if a company's offshoring or outsourcing or outshoring, whatever, he blended a couple of words, is that more, is that more susceptible to social engineering rather if it being, purely US based? I don't know. I don't know if they capture that type of stuff. I say I know that some of those, some companies you have to be near shore or onshore. You just cannot, right? I'll tell you someone that does that. If you ever worked in pharma, big pharmaceuticals, they don't play that much. They are locked down. They don't look at the IP that they host, right?
Right. So they're
So-
highly regulated either through government regulation or through their own regulation to keep those types of resources tight and within their org rather than outsourcing them. Yeah, that's a good point, Edward.
And they touch a lot of military people, because one of the things I did in the military with the stuff that I worked with was called 2-person control and 2-person concept. Trust no one. You watch me, watch you, and do it. So, yeah.
Fair
And
point.
last but not least, I thought we could talk long enough that Rod would leave, but he's breaking
That was
promises.
close. That was close. Just keep talking. I'll leave
Before you go, then, if you're going to give me the so what's going to be top of mind is going to be quantum and AI in 2024. That's and again on the quantum front, in my opinion, is like extremely important. Like if you think about organizations that have had their data exfiltrated today, most of them, I would argue, don't have it encrypted at rest, right? Most because you see these things happen all the time, and they show like copies of the data, right? And then they get the ransom out there, blah 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 blah. But let's say you did actually have encryption on these documents, etc., and it's using the latest encryption standards that you can't break today. Well, the second quantum comes out and the second a threat actor can access that, if they've been keeping that data in cold storage, they can now just get into it immediately, right? Now, will that data be relevant 5-10 years from now when these groups, to Rod's point, may or may not have access to cloud capabilities that grant them quantum? I don't know, but it's a really interesting question. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on. And I know Richard Diver, who listens to the show all the time, he's been telling me that, internally there's a lot of information that's going to be coming out on quantum.
Well, so remember, and this is where I kind of want to lean toward this year, right? So I don't really have resolutions. They're just things I'd like to focus on. One of my goals this year is to make a better story for developers, because if you think about it, I mean, if we've had this argument at least for my entire career, where developers want godlike mode over everything. And it's so difficult for security teams, IT pros, to kind of lock that stuff down. But honestly, security begins where the code gets built. And if guidelines aren't followed there, then, we need 100 defenders. We need all these defender products. We need all this other stuff, right? So my goal for this year is to build a better story around the developer message, security for developer, which is part of what I'm trying to accomplish with this Microsoft AI tour, right? So talking about security, but in the realm of, hey, let's just start at square one. Let's talk about developer security. And then, then we can focus on the other stuff and talk about how we monitor and audit that stuff. But let's renew that discussion. Let's not call it an argument anymore. It's something that absolutely must be done. So.
Great point.
Eric Manning made that post about that, where we have to take the keys back from developers, and how a daunting task is going to be. And I said, the first thing, you've already alienated developers by saying that you're taking something back. Rod, stand up. That's your tail behind you. You might well start chasing it. It's not going to happen.
I don't know. I mean,
you can
think about SolarWinds. It has caused the U.S. government to now require software vendors to have secure code implementations and practices if they want to be a qualified vendor for the Fed, right? So it's already happening.
You're talking about a very subset of controls put in place that were 100% reactionary. Rod can say what he wants to say, and he's 100% correct. So I'm going to put my salesperson hat on. How does it make me money? How does it save me money?
Well, you don't have to buy all our products. I'm just kidding.
You think about it. When you're talking to a guy that's sitting there, and whatever the C level is, and you're telling him, yo, you really need to do this. What he's hearing is, you secure your code, blah, blah, blah. What I'm hearing is extended timeline, missed deadline, more people needed, extra stuff done. And so until you can say that message, they're going to go, what's the worst that can happen? The penalties are not sufficient enough. We talked about this last year when we were talking about Fed government. We had I forget we had on. that's not enough pain. There's just not enough pain.
Yeah.
And so when
Yep.
you can make it painful, that the pain is better than
Yeah.
Rod and I have raised kids. My kids used to calculate the pain of taking that cookie out the jar. Well, he only whips me for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can think I'm gonna go after that cookie.
I like
Right.
that. I like that
There you go.
analogy. Yeah.
Andrea, you got quiet. Andrea's been playing, she's listening here right now. What do you think about this whole quantum computing thing?
And developer security.
Well, I said the developer stuff I know is super important, but I don't find it interesting at all. So I don't know that I have an opinion on it. I'm just being honest. I
That's
mean,
fair. That's fair.
obviously
Yeah.
we need
absolutely.
more secure code, right? As Rod was saying,
Yeah.
if we have more secure code, then we have a better environment. We don't have to worry about it as much, but a little PowerShell or KQL is about as far as I'm, willing to
Yeah.
talk in the world of developers.
But if we got AI, if you read I subscribe to TDLR and a couple other things. They're talking about letting humans be humans and write the code because the creativity is there, and funnel the code through inspection and checks through AI and be able to see it so that you get it. But even then, you are not addressing the issue. You're actually going to probably make the developers less diligent by saying, oh, AI is going to inspect my code before it goes to QA in production. But what happens is now you've created a dependency upon these new age of developers. You're like, well, I can just write sloppy code. They're going to fix it anyway.
So it's the spell check effect. I see where you're going with
The
this.
spell
Why
check
do I need to spell if I've got spell check, right? And I'm definitely somebody who doesn't spell properly sometimes.
Me either.
But good point, Edward. But I learned through spell check how to spell thoroughly or whatever it is. So let's say GitHub Copilot, if I got that brand name right, I know they change all the time, has a check my code for known vulnerabilities feature. I don't think that's a bad thing. Yes, developers should learn secure coding practices, but it's always good to have a second pair of eyes on something, right? Like a kind of another check. So I would be open to that type of thing.
Yeah. Well, I think it's number one, it's awareness. Number two, it's education. And then where those fall short, I think we have an opportunity at Microsoft to build some tools to help, right? So we have the things like with the GitHub advanced scanning. We have some other things that we're going to announce here this month. Yeah, this month for scanning GitHub repositories and code. I mean, so there's never going to be 100% security, but we can get close. And again, awareness and education is top of mind.
We're talking about training these new developers that are coming out, and we're putting emphasis as they come out of college, as they come out of 2-year, technically focused schools, if they do self-study, if they do internships, or if they do shadow projects to gain their skills, the primary thing they've been told is speed. Speed, right? Andrea and I have had the luxury of leading developers. You are better off teaching a cat to fetch and or nailing jello to a tree.
But there,
Right?
I mean, you can't. But that's broad strokes. That's broad. There's
Oh,
gotta
no.
be.
No.
No.
No. They're all the same.
Okay. All right. That's fair. There's a lot of jokes there. I'll pause.
Yeah. And so that what we're doing today is actually creating another show topic. How do we emphasize that this is a necessary, facet of technology? Developers and what they do are sort of like the voodoo magic of what security people did. We know they're doing something, we don't know what. Oh, they're programmers. When did the term go away from when programmer wasn't sexy enough? We had to go to developer, right?
Or builders, yeah.
Or builders, right? And how long before AI, which I believe that probably one of the best things that it could do is displace, enhance developers and reduce the human necessity of pushing that last mile of code. But even then, it's not flawless because unless I'm mistaken, garbage in, garbage out, right? Andrea and Rod are the AI experts on the team. Garbage in, garbage out. So if I put into the code 1 + 1 is 11, it's 11, right? If you LLM or ever your what is your prompt repository, I got to read this book, right? I got to learn this much AI stuff. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, prompt engineering, to your point, we just had a talk today, a project that I'm working on, and we're looking to consolidate and inject AI and do all kinds of good stuff. And the architect I'm working with, who's very smart, he was telling me about how over the holidays he was reading and researching a whole bunch on just prompt engineering on its own, right? And I made the joke. I'm like, I've been putting off going through Must-Learn KQL because I just have, and I want to do it, but it hasn't been like top of my skills requiredness for my role.
Yeah.
So I've just been prioritizing other things. It's not that I don't think Rod's work is important, and a lot of people have found tons of benefit in it, and like it's accolades on social media all the time for all the work that Rod's stuff's been doing. But now you've got kind of this interesting: is natural language going to take over? I think you still need to learn the underlying query language. So Rod, all that work you've been doing, thumbs up, still should do it. I still would recommend that to people. But I think also at the same time, we need to learn prompt engineering and how we can actually interact with these natural language technologies, right? Yeah.
Well, I think it's the same thing, though, that Edward was kind of talking about with the developers. Like, is that going to make lazy developers? There's always going to be people who need to know KQL. There's always going to be people who need to know C#. Right? There's always going to be those people. What I think it's going to do is, level out that playing field so that we can be better, faster, without people having to have 10 years of experience in some things.
Mm-hmm.
So just like anything, we always need experts. Maybe someday, I can't even think of a coding language like COBOL or something. We probably won't, there's still a couple of well-paid people doing that because there are programs that are 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff will phase out and new stuff will come in. We're always going to need experts. It's just going to help us out in other ways.
And I think our natural intelligence in regards to trade skill is higher. It's like, how smart are the people on Star Trek? I mean, just how smart is the general populace overall, right? And so,
FYI, 31 years today, Deep Space Nine preview. Anyway, go ahead.
That's the only one I did not watch. I could not get into Deep Space Nine. I tried.
Edward, it was great. I think the first couple seasons were a bit slow, but they had the Picard handoff.
Yeah,
it's good.
Deep Space Nine, is that the one where they were on a space station and they had the guys with the big ears? Yeah.
Edge of the Delta Quadrant, maybe somewhere around there. Yeah.
They
had the Ferengi. They were the primary,
Ferengi. That's it, right?
Ferengi,
the ones with the big ears.
I love Star Trek. I'm watching. Here I go segueing again. I'm watching Strange New Worlds. Oh my God,
that's the best. Oh my God,
love it.
I love how they got up to the point now where when a Strange New Worlds episode starts, there's no lead up, right? Because everyone knows the crew now, right? Everything's good, and now it's just boom, we're on a planet, shit's going down, here's the situation, and within 3 minutes people are in a phaser fight, and then they've improved on everything, right? Like site-to-site transport. We're not like in the turbo lift for half the episode. It's quick, it's action, it's good, it's exactly what you need, and the episode can just end. And whether or not they're continuing with a continuous storyline or not is up to how they want the series to progress. But it's perfect. It's just like, yep, it's Kirk and the crew. Boom, crazy new world, shit's happening. It's all good. It's
Pike and the crew. It's Pike and the crew.
Yes, excuse me, Pike. Yes. Before
someone put in here about the push for AI to accelerate average employees be trusted for financial transactions. Well, who said that in there?
Well, read the whole thing.
Patrick. Yeah, some scammers have evaluated their leverage by inside information in financial institutions nowadays. They push for AI. Well, that's true. Financial institutions have been using their version of AI and all this other stuff. It's been very proprietary because they generally have had the money, even though we generally see the antiquated technology that they won't dump. Think about how they know how to get more business. Look at your spending trends and do all the stuff. They know. So when you look at these things, if I saw a disruption, I attended a chat GPT for real estate investors, right? Because my wife is not real estate agents. So I looked at it and the course is actually pretty good. This thing wrote a listing, went out, grabbed the information from public records, went to Google, whatever thing they can look down on it properly, correlated that information and wrote it. And my wife looked at it and said, well, it's not as good as me, but oh my God, it's good.
Yeah.
because it did all that footwork, and then you went in and fine tune because it may not know that you got a permit from the local state government to improve your basement. Those are the things that experience will still be necessary for. But if you're in a financial, let's think about advisors, because Andrew and I were talking about financial advisors. Now, this person who has a portfolio of 15 affluent can possibly go to 30, because now AI can look at the trends of what's making your other 15 successful and see if it can make the other 15 successful. And so I would get away now from flat fees to percentage of portfolio growth. And now you're using the data that you already have. And you know that these big brokerages and clearinghouses have this technology. They're looking at this. How will it, but I also think it would absolutely be super useful for catching insider trading, right? And I'm all on the financial stuff because I've been watching Billions on Netflix or something, or Prime or whatever. I love Billions. It's actually pretty good. So I'm going to watch that, and I'm going to go watch the session next. Wintertime is when I TV binge. I'm just binging.
I think for AI though, I think for real estate, I think it's literally just like real estate for squatters, because they can go on there and they can find criteria where, it's easy to, find somebody out of the state. Maybe they're on vacation and they can go and squat in their house.
Well, that's a real thing. I
It
mean,
is.
we have encountered that before, where we've gone to some properties and people have moved in, and the laws in certain states are antiquated. Georgia being one of them. There are squatters' rights,
Yeah.
right? But I think is looking at. I got to find that link. The course was recorded. It's actually not bad. But think about it. We are talking about all the possibilities. We went from AI to quantum to AI, back to quantum, back to AI. We are in the next thing. And I'm not going to say what I said all last year. This is not the new shiny thing. This is the thing. It's not the new
Oh,
shiny.
Edward, that's huge for you.
This is the thing. And you can
Yeah.
ignore the thing if you want.
Well, it's
Right.
it's all kind of settling out. All shiny new things start
Mhm.
out, everybody just loves them and have to have them. But then eventually, over the course of the 6 months or so, even a year, sometimes longer, things settle down. Things settle out, and you actually see what that thing actually is. And I think we're almost to that point.
I think
Yeah.
it
Good call.
because AI clearly established the players. Everybody else didn't have the ante. I call, I fold. And so those who can make the call, Google, Microsoft, AWS, Meta, and a few others. Everybody else had to fold. They couldn't see the call, poker reference, and you out. And so now you're going to find a very small subset of those who can dominate the market. And Microsoft, for whatever reason, good or wrong, they're leading because they were first. Not first in the technology, but first we're making a huge marketing play on it. And someone said, you don't have to be the best when you're first. You just were first. Your name will always be spoken first, right?
Well, you can either be first or you can be best, right? You can't, not normally.
I'd rather be first. Best takes too much work. I want to.
That's right. The best takes too much work, and
Too much
depending on what industry is, you lose out if you're not first.
Yeah.
What's best anyway? I mean, if you have to be dynamic and pivot, right? Rather
Best
than
means that
like-
everybody's
like
coming after you.
Yeah, the goalpost is constantly moving. But I'll tell you what, Edward, I love that you called that out. When I was younger, I thought AI was like this cool, super cool thing that I wanted to get into, and I had no idea, right? My mom went to like Chapters, the bookstore, and bought me some C# coding book that was all about AI and had code snippets, and I had no idea how to execute any of this. She just thought like, this is helping my son, right? So thanks, Mom. I really appreciate that. But then now it's like here, right? And so I was like, I just really want to dive right in. This year, I want to dive right in, Andrea, to your point, resolution. Dive right in, really own it, leverage stuff that Rod's put out, leverage things that everyone's put out, because I think just you have to. It's important. It's going to be here.
I think the team that we have here, we can learn from each other, right? We all have these skills. Believe it or not, I think, Brody, your youth and your not so much in tenure is a definite asset. Your shoulders and back are not been bent by corporate America and cynicism, like like Rod and Andrea. We're just mad at the world these days, right? But
Yeah.
Andrew's gonna have a refresh. You're gonna see her all bouncing around. She's doing all the security co-pilot. She's gonna be
Oh, I
doing the
can't wait.
presentations. I
Yeah.
would be in every one of her presentations heckling.
I'm super
Ooh,
happy for Andrea, by the way. I think
I am
think-
happy for it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Me too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Andrea, I know I didn't text you over the holidays, but when I saw the announcement on the episode, it took me like a few days to watch it. I was so happy.
And
She
so
has
I'm
joined the
excited.
Speed Force.
She has
With a
joined the
new blood.
Speed Force. Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
And I'm especially if any time that she's presenting or somewhere, I'm gonna definitely be the be in the how I'll be in the audience, being the pitch man for. Let's go do it, and that way I can be lazy and ask the question without researching. Just go to him, don't be truthful. I go to you guys, but I'm gonna blow through this must learn AI security.
Blow through it.
I read books. I love the tact. I love books.
I heard it's a bunch of crap.
It is a bunch. Like this is
Are there pictures?
There's only a couple.
I don't know. It's not good for me.
Double space, 14-point type.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And even this close, I can't see it. Yeah.
Andrea, that's how I got through school.
Seriously.
No, yeah. Oh, and somebody in chat earlier said, Rod, when are you going to come out with the self-narrated audiobook? And you do have a
We
great
put your
voice.
dulcet tones reading it.
Yeah, I've had people ask that before. I think I'm just gonna hire people.
Rod's
someone.
voice
with a
is not
really
as
good
good
voice.
as in person as he is here. He got all these feels when you talk to him in person. You're like, ugh.
Edward,
Yeah.
he's behind the
Mickey Mouse.
microphone. The microphone's going to pick up what the microphone picks up. So thanks for complimenting Rod's voice in person. I think that's hilarious. We
Rod
get
did
Gilbert Gottfried to do it, or Morgan Freeman.
Gilbert Gottfried passed, unfortunately. I guess we could use AI to, reproduce Gilbert Gottfried's voice. That would be great.
Not with all the writers and content and stuff like that. You
Andrew Dice Clay. How about that?
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he is. He has a reality show. He's like Hulk Hogan and all those people that had reality shows.
Well, let's do a reality show. Hey man, I have a resolution for 2024.
All right.
What, man?
The four of us have to get together in the same room.
Okay.
Cannot get out of this year.
I love that one. I love that.
We got to get in the same room.
I love that.
And have a bunch of fun, right? And that's one of my other things is
Optimus.
we can't wait to have Optimus. Octonauts. Yeah, they that. But hey,
Yes, Edward. Let's make that happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
do that.
Put that on my plate.
Okay, that's your Kate. Okay, it's your action item, Edward.
Well, I think that what that says is he's inviting us to his house.
You're more than welcome. Andrew's visited and we hung out. Yeah.
They've got more than enough room for us, that's for sure.
Well, apparently AI can tell when he's out of the country. We can squat in his house.
No, I cannot tell when I'm out of the country. I'm not even here now. There you go. But I mean, well, the hardest part is Rod in 2024 because you all over the place.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so we got to, we'll figure it out though. We'll find a convention, we'll find a seminar, we'll find something, and even if then we just need to figure out. I mean, the hardest part is Brody decided to go live that way. No, you're west that way.
Yeah.
So
That's where I live. And while we're saying it, Rod was going to try to help me get good on the speaking rotation.
Yes.
But I have an important family announcement. We're going to have our daughter born in the spring, and so that's going to conflict with travel plans as well and some work. But I still am keen to meet everybody in person.
So the perfect, and by the way, congratulations, Brody. Super happy for you. I think that's awesome. Our best opportunity, I think, will be in November in Miami. Oh no, not Miami this year. Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
I love that. Yeah,
that'd be great. So at that MMS, that Midwest Management Summit that happens at the Mall of America here in a couple of months, there's a second one every year. This year it's in Fort Lauderdale. Usually it's in Miami. This year they've moved it to Fort Lauderdale. So we could all go speak and do, sessions together and then just hang out.
I love that. Let's plan for that. I'm pretty sure that's long enough away where I can sneak out, or potentially, my wife can come with. We'll see. Yeah. So thanks, Rod.
Just your maid or whatever could probably.
Yeah,
Maid.
your nanny, your opa.
Yeah.
Is that what they are? I don't know.
My wife's got a great structure of amazing people in her life, so I think, well, if I just butter them up to help her for a week, I'm pretty sure I can sneak out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll figure it out. I like I said, I'll look at schedules, look where people are going. I know that, you know, Andrew changing roles. So he's probably gonna have different duties, responsibilities. Rod's all over the world. I'm doing some stuff. I'm trying to jump on some of the speaking rotations with Rod. I gotta talk to you about a few of those things, Rod.
Okay.
What I do over at Microsoft is totally evolved. It's taking off now. We just announced like 3 or 4 wins already.
Ooh, nice.
Congratulations to the Defender experts for XDR hunting. We landed Staples. We ousted, CrowdStrike,
That is awesome.
and they still have CrowdStrike on it's deployed. And what I'm speaking is public record, so it's no
Okay.
I
secret.
was, I was hoping so when you were saying it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been announced. I worked on the Staples account for a lot of their technology, so it's public notice, so that's a good thing, and it's taken off. Um, I think where I am doing, I will probably have these inflection points with Andrea because of what Copilot doing versus what Dex is doing. They're touching in certain aspects, right?
So we talked about this, right? When
Mhm.
the Dex people were on
Mhm.
in December, I think, how the biggest customer of Security Copilot right now is Defender for Experts.
Yeah, and we're seeing that now. I'm starting to get the access they're giving me, and I'm looking at it and I go, oh, right. So it's not what the customer would directly consume, but I can see some of the things, and it sort of made my eyebrows go up the way Spock does it with a real big eyebrow. Lenny Nimoy does it the best though.
Yeah, I can
His
do it.
his eyebrow literally goes back to the back of his head when he does it, right? So
Oh, look at that. Andrew.
Yeah, oh,
look at
Andrea.
Andrew.
Yeah, wow.
He's got
I've
it.
known Andrea for what, 4 years, 5 years, Andrew?
40 minutes.
At least, yeah.
I can count the times I seen you take your glasses off. Well, you take them off when you give them to me. If we're out somewhere and I'm gonna get my readers, and you'll go, you can't see it. I'm like, yeah, hey, I can't see. And then we look and I give it back. But I am happy for 2024. I am both grateful, thankful, happy. The podcast is doing what it does. We're still providing value. People love it. It's a safe place to come learn without any, you can come and ask all the dumb questions, whatever, because we can give you a dumb answer. And we're having fun, and we'll continue to do it.
And on that note, if I may, sorry to interject, another resolution, I want to be more active in Discord. I kind of let it linger
Yeah.
a little bit near the end of the year. I had a lot of family stuff going on. And another one, Rod, I think you've got a few avenues, but what I'd like to do is hear from our community more about the kind of impact that we're having, suggestions, recommendations, what they find valuable, because it's one thing for us to do this, but I'd love to hear what they find valuable. We can bring that back and maybe improve. So I know we've had a couple of those communiques sent out, but if you're listening to this or watching this right now and you love the show and you find value out of it, and there's certain episodes or certain topics that you love, please let us know, because
Yeah.
your feedback is really important, so we don't operate in a silo. We want to make sure that we're consistently meeting the needs of the community and making sure that you're having fun in cybersecurity.
And if you ask a question that is not in our realm of expertise, any one of our guests can say, I know about that. Thanks out to Morton. After the last show, when I was showing the task manager and the process manager, he sent me a detailed email of why that particular breakout of the AI process was not embedded into that. Very detailed. So thank you, Morton. I like, oh, I didn't ask for it, but now I understand how the Copilot is integrated with the 365 productivity suite now. And you see these processes, right? And why it triggered MDE once. Remember I told you on the show, it triggered it once and I never saw it again. I'm like, why did it trigger that? As some type of, rogue or unauthorized process. It makes sense after I read it. But like I said, all our guests are welcome to come on and parlay their expertise, answer a question. Discord, I have to be better. I know Noodle's going to hold me to it because I said I would. I got to hear, and we'll do those things, right? and have fun. I have some topics. I started doing some stuff with MDI. I didn't realize how many of the new things are out about it. So I want to probably, when we do a show with just us, there's some cool stuff in Microsoft Defender for identity I did not know existed, and how you go about getting stuff deployed. So I want to look at some of that.
Yeah.
March is once again Women in Cyber Month. I think that we're shooting for 8 shows that month rather than one a week, maybe twice a week. And then April, I think Rod has already gotten some individuals who want from it's partner month. So obviously we're gonna have Mona back from Blue Voyage. She sort of won't go away. We gotta have her back on, right? I'm just kidding, Mona. And the rest of those Critical Stars has reached out to me. Red Canaries reached out to say, hey, they want to come on, and a few others. They want to do this thing. So, and then any of the months that I say that one of us dedicate a month. Andrew may have a month, right? Just do this month and do this thing. But MDI, a couple of things I want to show. Microsoft Defender for cloud apps has some new capabilities and features as it becomes more of a SASE and the edge thing, and you got to see what it does. And some of the stuff I want to talk about that a little bit too, because I don't want to be a salesperson like Brody is accusing me of being.
I was going to say, I'm surprised that the first thing out of your mouth for topics wasn't Defender for threat experts, but yeah, no, that, but but yeah, no, all that sounds good. Maybe we could get some folks from the product team to join us as well. Some of these announcements.
The Defender for experts, they're loving the promotion that we're doing on the show. I was able to get that video from a night, finally engineered where it's usable and send it to them. They're getting ready to make some major announcements. They actually make their public community evangelism. Our show is listed at one of the things for outreach.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
So they actually like that now, right? So, hey everyone, it's 6:06. Everybody wants to get back to what they do. It is good to see my friends. You guys are work friends, and if I win the lottery, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna talk to you anymore. I'm just gonna be better than you, so I'm gonna leave. Right? Just kidding.
Okay.
I'd fly everybody together. We'll just stay a month somewhere, right? And just do the show for a whole month, right?
Nice.
It'll be like Big Brother in the house, right? We'll do that. Security for Big Brother. Yeah, we'll do that.
Survivor.
And anybody has an idea for a show, make it funny, make it clownish, make it gamified. Let's get the Minecraft people back on, from that show. Yeah, let's do it. Let's get the next edition of Who Hacked, right? Like who done it? Who hacked?
We should get the developers on and make them mad. See how long it takes them to actually leave the show.
I'm done. We can't get any friends, so that's how it's happening, right? All right, everyone, be safe, stay warm. It's cold here in Georgia. It's cold. I know
it's
cold
warm here in Canada. Bring snow. Send snow to Canada. We need snow. Thank you. Closing video. Okay.